Hi everyone, and welcome to the General Hospital recap for May 18th. We're almost done with the catch-up. Woo! So let's get right to it. At General Hospital, Finn and Hayden loudly lay more bait for Brad. And he's going to have another test in an hour. Brad reprimands them for talking about bodily functions loudly in a hospital. Oh my goodness. What a crime. And even though they weren't being gross or anything, and then Brad makes a snarky remark at Hayden. And, I just love Hayden and Finn so much. Obviously, Lante is, my golden couple that I love, but, Finn and Hayden, they're, getting up there. So, Hayden and Finn talk more about Brad and his grudge and plans, and Finn asks how she's been doing, because she's been watching, and she says she's been watching hokey movies and thinking about the decision she has to make. So she weighed the pros and cons of having a baby, and she's always wanted kids, but her life has changed dramatically. And she wants to put good out in the world, though, and having a kid would do that, but she might go broke raising a child also. But there's only one question. Does she want to have the baby right now? And the answer is yes. So she checks if Finn's okay with the decision. Absolutely. He thinks he's ready. He's scared of his demons, though, and how he would, impart that on their child. But she says she has baggage, too. But he doesn't know if he trusts himself. He doesn't want to take a chance of messing things up. But Hayden wants him in the baby's life because they're so perfect and I love them. So she says she survived because of him, not just the cure, but giving her strength she didn't know she had. And she never saw him as perfect. And he's like, what? In a fun way, though. And she doesn't expect that of him either. He's shocked. And they're both happy where they are and that they're going to do this together. They're having a baby, and I've honestly never been happier in my life. Also in the hospital, Kiki seems to be friends with this nurse that we keep seeing around that I do not know her name and I want to know her name. And Kiki took the nurse's aide exam. Michael approaches her and asks for a favor. He tells her about Nell and the lack of an update. He asks for her help and she says she'd like to, but she doesn't want to break the rules. But Kiki will check something for him. She checks the computer and turns out Nell is on the 10th floor and accepting visitors. Michael says Nell doesn't want to see him though. And Kiki says he's a good person, and he doesn't waste time on people who don't deserve it, so there must be some good in her. Also at the hospital, Nell is in a lot of kidney pain. Honestly, same. I'm just kidding. And the nurse comes in, and again, I wish I knew her name. So Nina is in the elevator at the hospital, and Valentina is calling her, and she declines. Michael had called Nina to tell her about Nell. She feels partially responsible, and Nina asks Michael if he's coming up to visit Nell, but he'll respect Nell's wishes, and Nina can tell Nell he's here though. So Nina talks with Nell upstairs. She apologizes for putting her in the position she did. She's no longer living with Valentine, and Nell would be answering to Valentine if she continues working with them and Charlotte. And none of this is Nell's fault, or none of this is Nina's fault. None of this is anyone's fault, basically. So Nina tells her that she's not alone. She'll be by her side, and someone else too, Michael. So, also in the hospital, Michael thinks about finding Nell, when he found her on the pier. At Kelly's, Laura and Dylan literally run into each other, and he's headed to the hospital. She's taking over some of Tracy's responsibilities. Tracy even nominated her to take her place on the board with those responsibilities. So Dylan says the reason Tracy felt comfortable to leave is because she knew she was leaving everything in good hands. And then Brad comes up and says he hopes that she's ready to do good for General Hospital because there's a situation happening. So he introduces himself to her. He's Lucas's husband, the head of the lab, and he has a way to help the hospital now, so they sit to talk. So candidly speaking, he says there's a major liability. Hamilton Finn. He has a history of drug abuse, and he believes it's not a history that he's still using. And Laura says that that's a very serious accusation. He says he's spoken to Monica, and she's no better than Tracy, and they're covering for him. Will she also cover for him? Okay, so you've already insulted two people, and now you're gonna go for a third. Okay. So Laura takes issue with him calling Finn a junkie, and she says her family has been impacted by opioid addiction. Oy. Many families are affected by it, and she's done her homework. If he fails his drug test, the board will act accordingly. But no certifiable result has been turned in, and then he says that she's no better than Tracy, and like storms off. And it's like, like, really? Like, that's how you're... That's just, I find it disrespectful. Like, if you can think that or say it to yourself, but to say that to her face, like, that's just so disrespectful. So also at Kelly's, Dylan and Kiki have something to eat. He's confident that she passed her test, and she's not as confident she passed. She doesn't want to be, like, get her hopes up. So he asked her to the nurse's ball as her date, like, to go together. And, Tracy bought a table before she left, and Kiki says no. And Dylan's like, why? So she wants to go to the ball, but she's afraid of failing her exam and then watching everyone she was in class with perform without her. And Dylan assures her. He says that, you know what? Then we could stay home in sweatpants and watch TV. Like, then we don't have to go. But, we can plan for both. And then her phone chimes. It's her results. Back at General Hospital, Brad comes back. Hayden and Finn hear Diana, the nurse, that's her name, and say Finn is ready for his drug test. At Lante's, they're having pancakes in the morning, the whole family, even with chocolate chips in them, even though, that's usually saved for special occasions, but they say it is a special occasion because it's Charlotte's first, morning here. Together as a family. So Valentine leaves Nina a message, outside, he's still outside. He knows she sent him to voicemail in the elevator, and he says that Anna won't come between them, and he rings the doorbell. So Lula answers the door. Charlotte tells him all about memory and the sleepover and the chocolate chip pancakes, and Dante even offers to make Valentine a plate of chocolate chip pancakes. Isn't that nice? And he plans to walk Charlotte to school, but Lulu says Dante can drop her off because they have a prior engagement. The social worker is going to visit, and wouldn't you know, she's already at the door. So Valentine puts on the biggest, fakest smile he can possibly muster. He has to play nice, so Dante's taking the kids. So, okay, the kids are gone. Let's talk. The nanny didn't show up and Valentine was unreachable. Lulu was able to pick Charlotte up and keep her for the night, and the social worker says it seems like they worked it out, but she'll be in touch. So after she leaves, Valentine accuses Lulu of playing a game because the first thing she did was call the social worker. But, she needed to make sure everything was by the book, and she couldn't, explain the situation of why she needed to pick her up without, explaining the whole situation. So she's like, yeah, and you know what? I loved having Charlotte over, and I loved tucking her into bed, but more than anything, she hoped that he saw how happy Charlotte was and reconsider all this custody stuff. But Lulu's fine how it is right now. And, she wants less tension between them, and she's hoping this would do that. Maybe go to 2 or 3 hour visits and a sleepover ever so often. And since the breakup with Nina, and then that kind of makes Valentine snap. He says he and Nina are very married and very together and very happy. They did not break up. And then Dante comes in and Valentine leaves, but not before saying that nothing's going to change custody-wise. And, it's even she's lucky she even gets what she gets, and this never happened again. And he's very angry. At Anna's, actually it is Anna's. So Valentine tied Anna to the stairwell. He didn't strangle her. Thank goodness, because that would have been mean. Basically, he told her to figure out how to get free since she's a secret agent. So I guess he's not horrible. So Alex, let's just go with that, frees herself and answers the door. It's the doctor at the clinic. Oh, answers the phone. I'm like, that made no sense. He's not there. She answers the phone. It's the doctor at the clinic, and Alex says that Valentine is on to her, and the doctor says they have bigger problems. Anna escaped. So she knows Alex traded places, and she's on her way back to Port Charles, and Alex needs to leave Port Charles now. At the Metro Court, Valentine runs into Nina. He tells her about the sleepover and all. Nina thinks Lou is over-exaggerating this whole Charlotte was abandoned thing, but, it is a big deal. So I don't know. I thought maybe she'd see this whole Lulu thing a bit clearer. It is a big deal that no one was there to pick up Charlotte. And, at certain schools, if no one picks up a child after a certain time, the police do get involved. This is an actual issue. It's not no big thing. It was only 20 minutes, but it couldn't It could have not been. So even the morning visit from the social worker, Nina tells him that Nell was mugged, and that's the reason that she wasn't there to pick up Charlotte. At the airport, Alex is in the airport. Very pregnant Robin and Emma see her and are like, oh my goodness, Mom, Grandma. So Emma is getting so tall, and she even told Anna she brought Smile and Sisters, and Alex says, oh yeah, I had a teddy bear too. And Robin and Emma are like, what are you talking about? Those are the graphic novels you gave me. And Alex says that she's not thinking straight. She has to get on a flight to London. It's an emergency. But Robin can tell that something isn't right. So Robin says Emma to text or call Patrick while she talks to Anna. She says it's just this work situation, it's classified and urgent, and she can't talk details. It'll make sense soon, and Robin just wants her to stay safe. And Alex says she'll be back for the nurse's ball. Emma won't hug Alex, though. She says that's not her grandma. And I'm like, go Emma, I love that girl. And now end scene. So Dylan looks at Kiki's results, plays with her a little bit. Turns out she did pass her exam, so yay! Diane, the nurse, leaves Finn's sample where Brad can get to it. He nonchalantly goes over and takes the sample, but it's empty. Footsteps approach. Hayden and Finn confront him. Nell tries to get up, but she's in a lot of pain. Michael is still pacing the hospital. Laura runs into him, wants to talk nurse's ball real fast. The finances and, to go somewhere a little private. So he says, sure, he'll talk with her. And as they head off, Nell comes out. So had she come out like a second sooner, she would have seen Michael there. Nina just wants to make sure Nell has a job before she leaves, and he says yes, Charlotte loves Nell, so she won't want Charlotte to lose someone else in her life, basically. Lulu is better than okay right now, and Valentine's marriage is on the rocks, and she's sure she'll have custody. Emma says that woman is not her grandmother. Alex is like, oh, you're just tired, go to my flat. And Robin's like, you haven't said flat since I was a kid. Emma's right, you're not my mom. And then Anna is actually there, face to face. Boom. What? Okay, so that is it for the 18th General Hospital recap, and let's get going because we're almost there. Ooh, I hope you have a good day. Bye. Hi everyone, and welcome. Oh, I don't know if I